At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. You're watching Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning, Monday through Friday. It is 6:31 on this Monday, March 23rd. Well, if you're getting ready to do some of that spring planting or even some gardening or even maybe re-landscaping, all the works, you got all those supplies you need at Axner Excavating. And every year, they've got an amazing sale. It's the 59th spring sale at Axner Excavating. They've got 11 acres of everything you need, from rocks to mulch to dirt to whatever it is you need, right? I don't think dirt's the official term for that, but you get the idea here. It starts at the end of the month and will last through Sunday, April 12th. Go to AxnerExcavating.com for all the details on all of the great sales, because it's not just things in their 11-acre lot, but a lot of other great products that they have on sale as well. So be sure to check that out. Check out some of the temperatures we did see so far for the month of March. And really, it has been an unseasonably warm March. Temperatures have been well above normal. In fact, all the orange boxes indicate days that were above normal. Looks like we were right around normal on the 4th, and we saw 3 record-breaking temperatures at least at the Reading Airport, with 92 on last Monday, 88 last Thursday. Look at the last Friday. We got up to 93 degrees, and temperatures in the low to mid 80s here throughout the weekend. I wanted to show you what my Sunday looked like. I had to go out and just kind of make sure everything's good to go. My lawn is embarrassingly terrible, and if you live in my area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My lawn is terrible. I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm looking to hopefully do some changes to it. Not a whole lot, but maybe get some seed planted in there. I'm going to try something inexpensive first and then see where we kind of go from there. But just got to start with the irrigation system, right? How is the sprinkler system going? It needed some work, and I needed a few new sprinkler heads. So that's kind of where we were at that point. But that's what my Sunday looked like. But I was able to get things up and running. Now I've got the timer running, and I've got the water going whenever it needs to go, all of that. Hey, by the way, it's spring, right? We're going to start seeing more of those flowers and just these beautiful colors blooming. And I'd love for you to take pictures and share them from the free Weather NorCal app, and then we can display them on the morning update right here live on Coffee with Krueger, and we can check out some of the beautiful spring colors, not just in the valley, but if you live in the mountains or on the coast, we'd love to check out a lot of your different photos out there. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our Krueger's Quickcast for your Monday, March 23rd. We are looking at temperatures right now fairly mild. We've generally got those temperatures mainly in the mid-50s, give or take. 50 degrees for Reading, a little bit warmer out in Chico right now at about 58 degrees in Oroville, and temperatures upper 40s right now for you along the coast. All right, for tomorrow morning, for this morning, looking at temperatures in the mid-40s, sometime around 8 o'clock this morning, generally in the 40s. For the higher elevations, you can see about 42 degrees for Trinity County, 41 out in for the North Coast, and of course for the coastal regions. Now, the ridge of high pressure that gave us the above normal temperatures, record-breaking heat last week, that has started to kind of shift to the south and east and weaken a bit. What that's doing is, number one, our temperatures are dropping slightly. It's still been pretty warm out there, as you know, but we're starting to allow more clouds to roll in. You may have noticed it yesterday. You'll notice it again here for today. All right, so we take a look at Futurecast, and I think we're going to see some breaks in the clouds this morning and the first half of the day. But then going later on in the afternoon, I am anticipating that we'll probably start to see a few more clouds begin to roll on in. So that's essentially what's happening with this ridge of high pressure. There are going to be times when we see more sunshine, other times a little bit more in the way of cloud cover. Now the winds today, not too bad to start off the day. Later on in the afternoon, I would expect that winds will be from the south for the valley at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, a bit stronger for the eastern mountains, actually a little gusty. Could see 20, 25 miles per hour from the west for Lassen, Plumas, and even Modoc County. But then those winds should die down here later on tonight. All right, so for today, temperatures in the valley, about 80, give or take, and about 70, give or take, for the mountains, and right around 60 for the for the coast. All right, and you can see for tonight, temperatures mid-50s for most of you in the valley. You know, Alturas may be one of the cooler spots in the upper 30s, otherwise in the 40s for most of the higher elevations. Temperature probably somewhere in the mid to upper 40s tonight for the coast. So your 7-day outlook, take a close look. There's not much going on, is there? Maybe a little spike in the temperatures on Friday before we drop back down to about 80 again over the weekend. No rain for the valley. Now, for the coast, you'll notice the raindrops there for Wednesday. Most of the rain that we do see this week for the coast is going to be tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning. But Tuesday through most of the day will be mainly dry. Wednesday through most of the day will also be mainly dry. Again, it's going to be mainly an overnight event, and most of the rain, I think, will be in Del Norte County. Meanwhile, Siskiyou, Modoc County, Eastern Mountains, I expect you're going to be dry over the next 7 days, and temperature is not changing much there either. A bit of a drop in those temperatures, though, by Thursday, back into the low 70s by Friday and into the weekend. That's a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast. Let's go and take a look at what's going on there in Main Street, Chico this morning. Looks like we are seeing still dark. It's that time of the year, still a little dark out there. We got a few clouds making for a beautiful sunrise out there. We've also got, it looks like something happened here. I think I know how to do this. I think I know how to fix it, but I'm going to have to probably fix it later. But I know what's going on. I won't be able to show your comments on Facebook, unfortunately. It had some technical issues this morning, but everything is resolved, minus, of course, being able to show you where some of the Facebook comments. But we got Curtis Brown checking in this morning, saying, good morning, Mike. I have a vineyard plumbing repair to do this morning. Started irrigating last week. Well, interesting. Well, thank you, Curtis, for that update here. Just west of Red Bluff is where he is. And there you can see Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive. Just a couple of clouds out there this morning. Looks like a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of fog. Some low clouds, at least, developing for parts along the coast. No big surprises there. Let's see if we can see what it looks like right now I think I've got that up here. Yeah, that's what it looks like in Trinidad. You'll notice this is just north of Trinidad, actually at Elk Country. But beyond those hills is on the other side of that is where the mountains are. So it looks like we have a little bit of a marine layer kind of coming in behind that. Kind of interesting. Looking at Bald Hill West, looking down at Hoopa Valley. Boy, it's been a while since we've been able to really be completely fog-free there. So it looks like a clear start to the day there. Looking out at Soda Ridge, yeah, you can see some of the clouds out there this morning that we do have really across parts of all of Northern California, really in general. There's a look at Fort Jones. No fog, just some of those mid and high level clouds out there this morning. What we're beginning to see take shape here as we start to see more and more of that snow melt. We look at Lassen Park. That one tree that I was talking about, that was the one little area where we could gauge. We could just start to see that. Looks like we've got something man-made here. I'm not exactly sure what that is. And we're starting to see more rocks begin to kind of pop up as well. So we're starting to see that snow really continue to melt here across the region. All right, today is Monday. We've got our Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. We are going to meet a tarantula. Tarantula. Did you know all spiders are poisonous? But how they kind of manage that is all different with all the different animals. And we're going to take a look at Flick, the tarantula. Not really the Redding area, right?
Not in Redding. Yeah. Not really in Redding at all. But down.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. You're watching another edition of Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. We've got Adrian here, and we have got a tarantula.
A tarantula.
Named Flick. Right. Now, how did Flick get her name?
Flick got her name because this species of tarantula, like many of our New World tarantulas in the Americas here, have a really cool adaptation to protect themselves. So you asked if tarantulas are venomous, which all tarantulas and actually all spiders are venomous, and you can't take their venom gland out.
Interesting.
One of the things that makes the spiders the fact they're venomous. But they don't want to use their venom on a predator. They want to use they're urticating hairs. So on the back of her, she has these cool little hairs, and you can kind of see them if you get up close. Those are called urticating hairs. You think of something that irks you and bothers you. These urticating hairs act like itching powder. And so what they'll do is they'll flick them with their back legs off of their abdomen here into the air, and they aim them right at your eyes, or a predator's eyes.
Wow.
And so the predator's too busy itching their eyes and trying to get that stuff out of their eyes, and the tarantula has time to escape down into their burrow.
And they're pretty quick, right?
They're pretty fast sometimes, yeah. And tarantulas are the arachnid group. So there are spiders and ticks, vinegaroons. There's lots of animals in the arachnid group. Not all of them are venomous, though. There's false spiders, too, that aren't venomous. But they do all have 8 legs. It's one of the things that makes them an arachnid. This species is actually a Mexican red knee. Can you guess why she's called a red knee?
Because I see red knees, or they look more rusty
They're
orange.
more of a rusty orange color, but they come in a variety of reddish colors.
If it was red, that'd be a little bit more intimidating, I would think.
And they can be pretty vibrant sometimes. These guys are native to the deserts of Mexico and the high mountainous dry deserts of Mexico, and down into Central America as well. And we even have tarantulas here in the Americas. Did you know that? Like North America?
I think so, but not really the Redding area, right?
Not a lot in Redding, not really in Redding at all. But down in the deserts, think of like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and Southern California. Even down in the Bay Area, there's actually a migration of tarantulas every year, and people go to watch these tarantula males migrate to find females, and you'll see thousands of tarantulas.
So to see them in the, I guess, the wild, if you will, what would be the main? People always get concerned about, oh, they're venomous, they're going to bite me. That's not necessarily the concern. It's mainly the hairs, right?
Yeah, it's the hairs you have to worry about, and as long as you leave them alone, they're not going to hurt you. Tarantulas don't jump. They're very fragile. We have to be really careful when we're handling them because they can break just like an egg.
Wow.
Yeah, this abdomen right here is actually very fragile, and it's very easy to break a tarantula, so you don't want to drop them. Very few tarantulas are good at climbing. There are some species, but most are not. They're mostly terrestrial, and they like to live underground. So those ones that we have here in the North America and in the United States, they spend most of their time underground, and they're always coming out at a certain time of year just to search for a mate.
Well, that is awesome. Something new every week. I feel like I learn something new from you guys over here. So if you want to keep watching, you can always go to weathernorcal.com. We've got all of the great educational segments on weathernorcal.com, and just click on the animal family segment and you'll be good to go. Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you, Flick. Learned a lot about you today. We'll see you next week. Once again, I want to thank actually Grange Co-op for sponsoring the Animal Family segment here. We're going to be kind of changing things around here with Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals and how we do all that. Animal Family is going to be kind of getting a new, kind of a bit of a facelift, and Grange Co-op will be taking a new role in their sponsorship as well starting next month. So we're very excited about that and their continued sponsorship of Weather NorCal. So thank you, Grange Co-op, for being one of the newer members the last 6 months, and we've got another 6 months to a year to go. So very excited to keep Grange Co-op here on board. We have got a good morning from Trinidad coming in from Jackie Dixon. I want to thank you for joining us this morning, Jackie. A couple of our regulars checking in here. All right, what do you say we take a look at another picture? Of course, we saw that at the very top of the show, but just kind of, if you missed the top of the show, this is what my Sunday looked like. I'm trying to give a little bit of a facelift, at least on my own, non-professionally, to start things off here this year. If it doesn't do too well, then I'm going to have it done professionally, because if anybody lives in my neighborhood, you know just how bad my yard is. It's terrible. So I'm going to hopefully kind of get make a few changes, get things going here. But that's what it looked like. I had to make sure that the irrigation system, that the sprinkler system was working properly. All a go, got the timers going, everything's good to go there. Now we got to start putting some seed in the ground and hopefully get some more grass in the ground as well, instead of a lot of weeds that we have. Share your photos, just like the one I have here. Now, we're getting that time of the year. A lot of spring colors, flowers, they're all coming out. I'd love for you to share your photos, and not just in the valley, you know, anywhere you live, right? Anywhere you live here in the North State, North Coast. Beautiful colors, beautiful spring colors coming out with the flowers. So send them from the free Weather NorCal app on your phone, your Android, and from your iPhone. All right, as you know, we have sponsors here at Weather NorCal. We were talking about Grange Co-op. Now we're talking about Wind River, who has been the sponsor of Coffee with Krueger since day one. Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, A wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's take a look at our weather headlines, and you can see mainly dry and warm this week. The average high in the valley is 67. We're going to be well above that, 10 to 15 degrees above, as a matter of fact, average in most cases. Few coastal showers by midweek. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. And then a potential for a pattern shift, and maybe with some of that rain, cooler temperatures by the end of the month and beginning of next month. Sometime around March 30th, 31st, April 1st, we'll start to see those bigger changes making their way into the picture. And we're going to get into all of that in our deeper dive forecast. So what do you say we get right to it and take a look at the satellite image here from the last 12 hours. Now, one of the things that we've been talking about even since all last week is this dominant ridge of high pressure that's been in place. But what you'll notice here when we compare this week to last week, this week, you'll notice the kind of the arc, number one, is not as prominent. Number two, which means the ridge is not quite as strong. It's kind of shifted a little bit more to the south and east. But this is allowing a lot of these clouds to kind of spill over. This is what we call, I know it's kind of a weird name, but we call it a dirty ridge of high pressure. Because typically with high pressure, what do you got? You got sunny skies typically, right? But when these clouds can kind of spill in, it's called a dirty ridge. So it still allows these clouds to move in. So we'll see top periods where it's plenty of sunshine, some high clouds, mid-level clouds coming in off and on over the next several days. All right, so but last week, all of this was shifted northward and we saw plenty of sunshine, above average temperatures, record-breaking temperatures, but that's not the case this week. So I was talking about maybe a little bit of sunshine here today, and then eventually later this afternoon, more clouds coming in. We kind of saw that yesterday, a lot of those high and mid-level clouds kind of rolling on in. A weak disturbance tries to push to our north, but really the main impact that I expect with this week's system will be, there's Tuesday, 5 o'clock. We may start to see some showers hitting Del Norte County late in the day tomorrow. But by tomorrow night into early Tuesday morning is when we expect most of that rain to kind of kick on in. In fact, probably late Tuesday night is when the bulk of that rain moves in, because by the time we get into Wednesday morning, a lot of that's pretty much out of here. So really, for the most part, Tuesday and Wednesday will be dry, but Tuesday night, that's when most of the rain moves in, and then we're dry and clearing skies as we go into Wednesday afternoon. That is a trend that will continue into Thursday. In fact, I expect high pressure to probably build in a little bit stronger by the end of the week, which means some slightly warmer temperatures as well. All right, I think a Futurecast is probably way overdoing it on the amount of rainfall that we're going to see for Crescent City. Not anywhere near an inch. This is a different forecast model that we're looking at here. So Futurecast is showing 0.81. This is kind of a general forecast product that comes from the National Weather Service. That's about 1/4 of an inch. So probably somewhere in between that, and I'd say probably closer to the lower end here is what I would expect out of this, because it's not a very strong system. It's not going to last for very long. And you can see it really just falls off as you start heading south-southeast of that. And then everyone else, of course, looking at those dry conditions. Again, that's going to be mainly a Tuesday night event. Now the winds, we're going to have to watch those. A little gusty off towards the eastern mountains here later on today, 20, 25 miles per hour. Maybe even some higher gusts there. You can see some of the mountain ridge tops getting in that 30 to even 40 mile an hour range. So gusty winds at times. You'll notice these south winds for the valley later on this afternoon. 15, maybe 20 miles per hour, not quite as strong for you along the coast. Now Tuesday, still some gusty winds at times for many of the higher elevations, especially north and east of the valley. The valley not as strong with those winds. A little gusty for Del Norte, but not as bad out towards Eureka, for example. Then we go into your Wednesday, gusty again off in the eastern mountains. A little gusty for the north and west side of the valley for Wednesday midday, and a little gusty for the coast. But the winds get even stronger by the time we get into Thursday. Now we're talking gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour in the valley. We're getting borderline wind advisory criteria for the valley, but most likely staying below that criteria. You'll also notice the winds on Thursday not as strong for the mountains, but still a little gusty for you along the coast in that 25 to even 30 mile an hour range here as well. All right, so are we going to be kicking off April with some rain? Well, we look at the long range here, and you can see here as we go into late March this month into early April, we're beginning to see some changes and the potential for some wet weather. You know, we've talked about this before, that, you know, you can have a fairly dry season, but many times signs we can go into April and we get that one last little push of some decent rain throughout the month of April. Now, the long-range forecast models are starting to pick up on that potential, as well as the Climate Prediction Center. Here you can see the March 31st through April 6th time frame. We're getting into that wetter than normal category. Now, you'll notice it's in that lowest category, so slimmer chances of getting above normal rainfall, but at least what this is a sign of some more wet weather moving in. So fingers crossed on that. We'll be watching that closely. In the meantime, we do have high pressure. That's going to be the dominant feature this week, but you see how it kind of shifts a little bit more to the east. This is going to allow our temperatures to drop slightly going into the middle and latter part of the week as that colder air rides up to our north. And then going into this upcoming weekend, we've got some more cooler air that's going to start to kind of push in closer to us, allowing our temperatures to drop over the weekend and early next week. This is also around that time frame we're going to start seeing the disturbances associated with this trough low pressure to potentially bring us some wet weather by the end of the month and early next week. Now, as a result, that same time frame, we're seeing temperatures at least drop back down closer to normal for this time of the year. As we look at the long range, the next 10 days for Reading, you see how we're just kind of hovering in the low 80s all the way through this upcoming weekend. The normal high is 67, so 10, 15 degrees above normal for this time of the year. But we do see a nice drop. Now, we're still above normal Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, but this is when we start seeing that potential for maybe some of that wet weather beginning to kick in as well. So with those cooler temperatures, we see that potential for that rain as well. Meanwhile, lake levels are still very healthy. The things we like to watch for are making sure that we're still seeing those lakes rising. That's good to see. Also good to see that our historical average is still well above where we should be for this time of the year. The wave heights are a little high this morning, but they should subside through the afternoon. I don't expect them to be much of an issue for your Tuesday either. So there is a small cracked advisory through until 11 o'clock this morning. So just take note of that. Your winds will be from the south at about 5 to 10 knots. So here's your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. Of course, you're going to be looking at those temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for Trinity County. Dry, however, if you see a stray sprinkle tomorrow night, early Wednesday morning, don't be surprised, but don't count on much, if anything. Now, the farther south you go into, say, Humboldt County, the slimmer the chances for rainfall for you. But as you head out towards Eureka, northward into Trinidad, Oric, Klamath, out towards Crescent City, Smith River, you've got the better chances for rain. Now, I've got the rain in there for Wednesday, but keep in mind it's mainly going to be a Tuesday night, Wednesday morning event, and then it dries out through most of the day on Wednesday. And really most of the day on Tuesday will be dry as well. Inland, again up to the north, places like Orleans, Hoopa, Willow Creek, you may see a stray sprinkle, light shower Tuesday night, but otherwise dry for the next 7 days. Siskiyou County, out towards Happy Camp, maybe even out towards Fort Jones, Etna, and Scott Valley, you may see a stray sprinkle tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning, but otherwise everyone else will remain dry and above normal for those daytime highs. Upper 60s, low 70s in Modoc County, you'll be dry even as we go into Tuesday night, as well as the eastern mountains. 72 degrees for Westwood, 75 out in Paradise and Shingletown, about 71 degrees. Taking you out to the valley to the south, should be looking at temperatures in the low 80s for your daytime highs. 81 for Corning and Chico, 80 in Durham, and 81 for Biggs, Oroville, and Gridley. Looking at that 7-day forecast for Chico, get those temperatures in the low 80s for the next 7 days. No big changes heading our way anytime soon. And then you can see up to the north, 80 degrees for Reading, 81 for Anderson, Palo Cedro, 80. As you head a little bit higher in elevation, temperatures dropping slightly, 77 degrees for Whiskeytown, 79 for the city of Shasta Lake and Lakehead, about 76 degrees. So there's your 7-day forecast for Reading. We've got those low 80s pretty much through Thursday. Now, you'll notice a little spike in our temperatures as that ridge of high pressure builds a little bit stronger, but then we start to see it weaken again over the weekend, back down to the low 80s. You'll probably start to see some more notable drops in those temperatures by the time we get into early next week, and that is when we could see that potential for maybe a little bit of that wet weather beginning to move in as well. So looks like we've got not a whole lot of change. This is going to be kind of that week where it's going to be kind of status quo. The weather you experience today, you're going to experience it tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. The other thing, though, to take note is that it will be a little gusty at times, especially in the valley and in the eastern mountains and along the coast. And the strongest winds look to arrive sometime around Thursday. So just bear that in mind as you are going through the week and making plans, especially if you have those outdoor plans as well. So yeah, there you have it. I mean, just kind of again, a status quo, boring week when it comes to weather, quite honestly. We got a couple of people checking in. Wasey saying, good morning, Mike. Good morning, Trinidad's. How's the weather over there? Trinidad looks good. Looks like a little bit of clouds kind of hugging parts of the coast there. Jackie saying, yeah, good. A little overcast off and on. Whales are still migrating. How cool. Man, that would have been a cool trip out to the coast this weekend. Check that out here. We've got Francis Grant saying good morning, and Kenny Elwood. Yeah, buddy, Kenny Elwood. Good to see you last Friday, as a matter of fact, and looking forward to the project that we're working on and the big changes that we will bringing some new elements to Weather NorCal. Very excited about that. A little teaser, but good to see you this morning, Kenny. Hope you are having a good start to your day, and hope everyone else is having a good start to your day as well. Well, we're going to wrap up the show here this morning here. Hope you're having a good start to your Monday. I had a few technical issues this morning, but I was able to kind of sift through it and make things working properly again. But beautiful morning. We're going to be looking at a beautiful sunrise with those clouds that we do have in many cases. Should make for a beautiful sunrise. Maybe take a beautiful sunrise picture, share it on the free Weather NorCal app. And I think, maybe you'll be happy to see it on the morning update and right here on Coffee with Krueger. All right, I hope you all have yourselves a great day. Keep in mind, I will be off the rest of the day. We've got meteorologist Aurora Murray. She'll be giving you her latest update at noon and then again at 6 p.m. But I'll be back in full force once again here for tomorrow throughout the day. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow.